Two was pretty good. We saw Chelsea blow Wolves out of the water. Everton slammed back down to the bottom of the table like a WWE wrestler getting slammed from the top of the cell, and Man With that in mind, welcome to Good Sport Reviews. My name is Lewis, and these are my Premier League Game Week 3 predictions. And if you all could, then please click subscribe. It takes like 2 seconds. It helps out the channel massively, as well as pressing the like button. Thank you guys so much. You're the best. First, Arsenal versus Brighton. We start with the side who I've predicted to win the league. Arsenal playing host to Brighton and Hove Albion, who are riding a wave of momentum going into the weekend. The Seagulls have got off to a flying start, scoring the joint second most goals in the early stages of the campaign, and have shown they have terrific options in attack, with Danny Welbeck, João Pedro and Mitoma all getting on the score sheet in the games against Everton and Manchester United. However, they have been susceptible at the back at times, often getting caught out by pace in behind, and against an Arsenal side who boasts terrific players like Bukayo Saka and Gabriel Martinelli, who can hurt virtually any side in the league with their speed, as we saw against Wolves, I think they're going to struggle to keep a stranglehold of this match. So this is going to be a 3-1 Arsenal win, with the Seagulls still putting up a fight against the Arsenal back line and getting a goal back. We then go to Everton versus Bournemouth. Bournemouth have got off to a moderately positive start for the 24-25 Premier League season, with the Cherries drawing their first 2 matches against Nottingham Forest and Newcastle 1-1. And to be honest, they should have won the latter if not for a dodgy refereeing decision. In contrast, Everton have got off to the worst possible start, losing 3-0 and 4-0 in both their first 2 fixtures and boasting only 19 shots, the 5th worst in the division. The Toffees need to get a grip defensively, and against the likes of Semenyo, Sinisterra, Kluivert and the new signing Ivan Nielsen, this doesn't seem like the best chance to make that happen, as Bournemouth have registered 29 shots so far this season, the 4th most, and only 8 behind leaders Liverpool and Forest. I'm seeing this match going only one way, and that's a 2-1 win to Bournemouth. Goodison Park will have a part to play, but no doubt the Blues are going to struggle against this Areola side, who seem to have found their attacking momentum. Ipswich versus Fulham. Ipswich have got off to the toughest start in the league this season, playing both Liverpool and Man City in their first 2 matches back in the top flight, and honestly, apart from that first half against the Reds, both matches have been a massacre, with City scoring 3 goals in 6 minutes against the newly promoted side in the last match. Fulham, on the other hand, have got off to a decent start, narrowly losing 1-0 to Man United and beating newly promoted Leicester City 2-1 in their last match, and the London side can boast to have history on their side in this fixture, as in the last 8 meetings between these two, Fulham have won 6. So if you need to go back to the 15th of December 2015 to see the last time Ipswich picked up all 3 points. If Ipswich are to get anything from the league this season, they need to play with that fearlessness that allowed them to score against City, and I actually think their positive style will affect this match majorly, with them being at home, and because of that, I think Ipswich are going to get something from this match, just not a win. 1-1 draw in my opinion. Leicester versus Aston Villa. I predicted that Leicester City would finish this league season in 20th place, and based on what I've seen so far, I'm sticking with it. The first half against Tottenham was absolutely abysmal, with their blushes only being saved by a late Jamie Vardy Housery moment, and the match against Fulham wasn't much better. In comparison, Aston Villa have beaten a well-recruited West Ham and lost to the eventual champions Arsenal, so there really isn't much shame in that, because they actually played well up until the first goal. Now, history will tell you that the match could go either way, with Villa winning 3 of the last 6 matches between the two, Leicester winning 2 and 1 being a draw on the 23rd of August of 2022. However, since then, both teams have gone in opposite directions, and I think Villa's aggressive attack, which sees them boasting the second most through balls behind only Liverpool, will fare well against the Leicester City backline, which seems to be pushing higher than necessary and has seen their keeper Mads Hermansen make the 3rd most saves. But for me, this goes 2-0 to Aston Villa. Brentford versus Southampton. In the Premier League meeting between these sides, Southampton have won once, with that being the 4-1 win on the 11th of January 2022, and since then, things haven't gone well for the Saints. Their return to the top flight hasn't gone to plan for Russell Martin's side, with their possession style of football not translating well in a similar way to what Burnley did last season. However, they are playing a Brentford team who have struggled at the early stages of this campaign, and at the time of me writing this list, look to be losing Ivan Toney to Chelsea, and Wissa is in discussions with the likes of Nottingham Forest, two of their main attacking threats. Both sides are in a struggling situation, with Brentford facing more shots on target than any other side in the league, and Southampton boasting the 14th lowest shots also. So in my opinion, it's a bit of a dead rubber in terms of stats and expectations, and we're either going to see two lower down sides slugging it out, or two teams in a tentative 6-pointer, and while I hope it's the first of those two, I'm not holding my breath, so I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. Nottingham Forest versus Wolves. Got to give credit where it's due. Forest have looked impressive in the early goings of the season. Yes, they've played Bournemouth and Southampton, but they've recorded the second most shots and the most on target in the first two matches of the season. In comparison, Wolves have played two of the toughest matches of the campaign, losing to both Arsenal and Chelsea 2-0 and 6-2 respectively. Their first matches don't reflect their real ability, however, and for all they've been on the receiving end in the early stages, they still managed to score two against Chelsea and boast talented players like Aiton Yori, who showed moments of promise in the first games, and also Mateus Cunha. This will be the first match where we see the real Wolves, and despite the talented players in Forest ranks, I think a high press from the side will leave some space in behind for the Wolves attacking wide players, and because of that, I'm going for a 2-0 Wolverhampton Wanderers win. West Ham versus Man City. This fixture always seems to go one way, with West Ham only beating Man City once in their previous 20 encounters, which was the Carabao Cup fixture back in 2022, which was still a draw, and City only lost it on penalties. Since then, the side, who have won 4 league titles in a row, have scored 15 goals against the Irons, conceding only 5. And if the Ipswich and Chelsea result are anything to go off, they aren't taking their foot off the gas just yet. While West Ham have the third most long balls in the league, which is something that Man City have struggled with sometimes in the past, they have had to make 47 clearances, which doesn't bode well when we're about to be faced by the likes of Haaland, De Bruyne and Phil Foden. I can see this only going the way of City, but I do think West Ham will prevent a clean sheet for the current league leaders, and because of this, I'm going to go for 3-1 win, the same score as the previous two team meetings between these sides. Chelsea versus Crystal Palace. I haven't got the words to describe Chelsea anymore. The once European superpower who went through a Premier League season conceding only 15 goals have turned into a money splurging, corporately ran shell of their former selves, and this summer window has proved it. However, in their first two matches, they haven't actually done awful. They had several high-profile chances against Man City and lost in somewhat honourable fashion, while their last match against Wolves was a sign that they've got their attacking mojo somewhat going. In contrast, Palace haven't managed to find the same form that they did last season, with the Eagles losing their first two matches, conceding 2 goals in each of them, and looking like a shell of the side who beat Liverpool, Newcastle and Man United last season. Losing Elise seems to have removed some of their attacking flair, and while they still have the likes of Eze and Mateta in the ranks, they need to get things moving in midfield, and this may be the game to do it, with the Chelsea still trying to get the ball rolling in the centre of the pitch, despite the form of Lavia and Caicedo going up in the early stages. I see this going for a controversial 2-2 draw. Newcastle versus Tottenham. This fixture has no in between. It's either Newcastle thrash Spurs like the 4-0 of last season, or Tottenham decimate Newcastle like, well, the 4-1 of last season. Both sides play an expensive and attack-minded style of football, leading to high-scoring affairs majority of the time, with this fixture resulting in 16 goals in just the last 3 meetings between them. Tottenham will be boosted by the return of Dominic Solanke after his injury, which made him miss the Everton match, and Newcastle will be boosted by the return of midfield talisman Sandro Tonali after his betting ban has expired. In my heart, I want to see another high-scoring affair. Honestly, I think we will, with no major injury concerns for either side, and while Newcastle have only scored 2 compared to Tottenham's 5, both sides are going to leave space in behind for the likes of Isak and Son to exploit. So because of that, I'm actually going to go for 3-2 Newcastle win, giving them the edge due to the home field advantage and the return of Tonali, providing balls into the space for players like Anthony Gordon and Isak to exploit. And finally, Manchester United versus Liverpool. We've now arrived at the biggest fixture of the weekend. Manchester United have smashed the transfer window this summer, signing the likes of Joshua Zirkzee, Delat, Mazraoui, and soon to be Manuel Ugarte, who I think is going to be a key role to play in this fixture should he be registered in time. Liverpool and the slot have shown terrific attacking talent, taking the most shots and producing the most through balls in the first 2 rounds of the league season, but they've also shown terrific talent when it comes to keeping possession and slowing the tempo of the match down a level, which suits them perfectly. Last season, this fixture was our undoing in both the FA Cup and the league, because the emotions and expectation got too high. And I think with the way Slot's side is operating, they'll be able to take the sting out of the Old Trafford atmosphere and exploit the space in behind in midfield, which Ten Hag's system produces. If Ugarte does join in that time, he will offer that extra layer of protection in the middle of the pitch, allowing Mainu and Fernandes to push further forward, but they haven't found good form yet, losing to Brighton in the 97th minute and just about scraping past Fulham in week 1. I think, and call it bias if you want, that Liverpool will win this 2-1. Not in majorly convincing fashion, but in a style which shows Arne Slot's talents against his biggest Premier League opponent to date. And that is my Game Week 3 predictions. Let me know in the comments down below if you think I've got any right, wrong, and let me know what you guys think the certain fixtures will go like. Please make sure to click subscribe. Please make sure to click like, and I will see you all in the next video.